What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. Today's episode, we're going to talk about something that we feel could really make or break your career as a rodeo athlete. What happens after the season wraps up? You've just put your body through the ringer all season long. You might be tempted to go chill, not do anything, but how long do you do that for? When do we get back to the gym? We're going to talk about this all today, and why getting back into your strength and conditioning program is going to be a game changer for your next season. Paul, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
How the hell are you?
Man, I'm good. I am really good. It's a good day to have a good day.
It is a good day to have a great day. That's what I'm talking about,
It is
baby.
good. Did you say good day to have a great day, or did you say great? Yeah. Okay.
A great day.
Great day. It's a great day to have a great day.
Dang right, man.
Whatever it is, it's gonna be a good day.
Heck yeah. What's been new?
Dude.
I feel like we have so much life has happened in the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, for our listeners, there's no gap in the coverage here, but the episode that just came out last week with Cooper Davis, we actually recorded that 4 weeks ago, maybe. So we had
due to my rigorous bow hiking schedule.
Yeah. September was going to be a crazy month, so we recorded a few ahead of schedule, and yeah, so it's been since September, or since August, since we've had a good podcast chat. So
it is. We were trying to figure out how to hook our equipment up this morning.
Yeah, I forgot
what do we do?
I forgot how to do this.
But going back to Cooper's episode, I listened to that, and that is by far one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
Yeah.
Listening back to it, and just such good tidbits in there for anybody listening, whether you're a rodeo athlete or not. There's just a lot of good life lessons in there. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you check that out. And
he's one of those guys that's got his finger on the pulse of everything. You know what I mean? He's a very intellectual rodeo athlete.
There's so much more to him than just bull riding.
Yeah, nothing is done by accident in his world.
I would almost say it's all. Yeah, it is. It's all on purpose. But he looks at bull riding as the business. So he has all these businesses, these pillars or categories, whatever you want to call them, that are Cooper Davis, right? And so, yeah, it's just, man, it was such a good episode. So much good information. You guys need to go listen to it if you haven't. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Rodeo Now App. They have been, we've talked about them a bunch, but I was talking to Caleb, and he was saying that, not all the contractors are on there, but the ones that were there, it made his life so easy as the director to go look at all the horses that were up, see multiple trips of them. That way, when guys were coming to him saying, and that's the thing, you got 15 guys saying this horse is good, this horse is mediocre, or this horse isn't good. Who knows at that point? And animals can have different days. So getting to see multiple trips in one place where he can literally type in the brand or the name, he says it's been a game changer. And I know he said for the athletes, looking up draws, looking up younger animals, some of those guys have been putting their colts, their calves on there, so they have video evidence of, hey, this is a young animal, but look at the potential here. So I just want to give a shout out to Rodeo Now App. If you guys listening have not downloaded that, please check it out. It's free to download. For all of you athletes, stock contractors, it covers everything. Bulls, you guys as athletes get to look up those horses and bulls, see what they do. It's a game changer for everybody. It makes young animals are going to get their opportunity, and guys are going to give animals more opportunities that you wouldn't normally with just going off of stats. But I had to give a big shout out to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing big things for the sport, and kind of really, man, asking for very little in return. The free app, it's available for everybody. I don't know what else what else you could ask for as far as
Me
like a
either, man.
contestant. Like you have this great resource, and it's all for the love of the game.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome. They're awesome. Check them out, y'all. Man, I'm looking at myself in this camera. I look skinny. I look like I've lost a bunch of weight, dude.
That'll
Oh,
happen when you live in the
yeah,
woods for a few weeks.
yeah, weight loss advice here. Just go
Yeah,
strap a
just
pack on and
just
hike about
get away
12 to
from
20 miles a day
yeah,
on
get out of
an
society.
extreme calorie deficit. I promise the weight will come off.
Yeah,
Your mental
guaranteed.
game will also decline. I promise.
Yeah.
It was wild kind of seeing that, seeing the I went hard during this hunting trip, and I'm gonna say hunting very lightly because it was tough. It was just bad conditions, lots of fires, hot as hell. And my dad started towards the end of the week just calling me every day. He's like, "Are we doing another death march?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, we are. Yes, we are, Dad." But it was a grind, and it was cool to see because I pushed my body to the limit, and I thought about the guys that are training intensely, or even when I was doing CrossFit really competitively, your body can only take so much stress when you are stacking a lot of output. So whatever it is, working out or hunting or whatever, you're exerting a lot of energy, stacked with not eating enough food, so you don't have enough fuel, and then stack another thing on there, not getting enough sleep. So I did from the 7th of September to, a couple days ago when it ended, I did it all up on my Onyx, so I track everywhere I walk, and I did 174 miles in those whatever 21 days.
Mhm.
And so that breaks down to like, what is that? Like 10 miles, a little less than 10 miles a day, something like that. And there were days where I didn't hunt, so some days I did. One day I did 20 miles. Like it just
Yeah.
depends, right? But needless to say, at the end of those 2 weeks, my body was toast and I got sick. I've been sick for 2 weeks, and the only thing that has helped me is catching up on sleep. So I haven't been working out. I haven't hit a gym. Yesterday was the first day I'd been in the gym for over a month, and it felt great to move. But it was just such a reminder that if you're not taking care of all the things, your body's gonna tell you can't go no more, and you're gonna see way less progress. I thought about if I was doing all of that exercise, quote unquote, or hunting. Again, I call it bow hiking, but
Bow hiking.
if I would have been able to eat enough, and like there ain't enough time in the day to eat enough when you're doing that stuff. Yeah, it's just not possible. You're gonna burn way more than you're eating. And I was eating close to 3,000 calories a day, like on purpose, making myself eat that much, and still it wasn't enough. And then the biggest thing is 5 hours of sleep max every, for weeks on end. And I haven't been sick in over a year, man. Like,
Mhm.
haven't even thought about the doctor in over a year, and I got sick on the hill, which sucked. But and of course, I tried to push it for two more days through it, and was by the 3rd day, I was dying. I was like, "This is not I need to go home and rest."
Yep.
And so I've just been doing that, but it just got me thinking about all the people that man, going hard is good, but there's a point, right? Like, there's, like, the who's gonna carry the boats folks. Like, I get it.
Mhm.
Let's be tough, but also there you gotta be smart about it and take care of your body when you are pushing yourself to extremes. And it has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. I just thought it was a random thing that has been on my
I
mind for the
mean,
last week.
it kinda will. I think it'll tie in a little bit, but yeah, it's a different deal, like, when you're hunting. It's like it can be because it's endurance, like, it's
Mhm.
all about, like it is kind of more that carry the boats type thing,
Oh,
like
I was like, mentally, you have to be in
yeah,
that
like, you
mode.
gotta be in that state, but
But I
like,
couldn't do this all year. I have
no,
1
you
month a
can't.
year where I
Yeah.
do it, and I'm saying I ended up sick at the end of it after trying to do all the correct things. And I'm not drinking beer, I'm not doing any of that. Like, when I'm out there, I'm taking all my vitamins, taking extra protein. I'm trying to do everything I can to counteract those side effects. So, it just was you can't do that forever. Yes,
Yeah.
there are seasons for that.
Speaking of extra protein, what's the verdict on the frog fuel?
I love it.
The little gel pack things.
Absolutely love it, dude.
Yeah.
They are so easy. So they have 2 different kinds. They have one that is 15 grams of protein, and then they have another that's like a pre-workout. And they have, it's like 1,500 milligrams of beta alanine, and I don't remember what the other thing in it is in there. And then they have 80 milligrams of caffeine in it. and there's 8 grams of protein along with it of collagen. So the thing about them is they're 100% digested in 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So a lot of times, especially, I would take the caffeine one in the morning. It'd be just 8 grams of protein. It got a little something on my stomach. I wasn't ready to eat. I like to eat when I get to the top of the hill after I don't want to go hike with a pack on
Right.
a full belly. So that was a sweet, like, pick me up with the caffeine, got a little bit of protein in my belly. So I wasn't like, caffeine in an empty belly is no good for me.
Mhm.
So it was nice. It felt great. Got to the top, ate my peak meal, made sure I got some water in. I was drinking LMNT, 2 or 3 of those a day to make sure we were sweating a lot, dude. It was really
Mhm.
warm and really smoky. So, and then I'd have that 15-gram protein somewhere around 2 or 3 in the afternoon after lunch when I was kind of getting that. I get snacky, man, in the afternoon and want to eat and just need more. So it was awesome and keep me full for about hour and a half, 2 hours. And then by the time that happens, you're hunting, so you forgot that you're hungry, and you get back and eat at 10 o'clock at night when you get back to camp.
Mhm.
But I was a huge fan of that. And then there are these bars called Green Belly bars, and they're about 600 calories a piece, and they are all natural nuts and fruits, and that's it. And they have been a huge help for me, just calorically, and also they're just one bar. It's one brick. You get 600 calories, bam, right there, and it's good fuel. So anybody that does any kind of outdoor stuff, even if it's like the guy who invented them did the Appalachian Trail
Oh,
solo
yeah. Yeah.
and needed fuel, and it was like you can't pack all these meals with you. So having these bars that are 600 calories and it's like a ton of fat, a ton of carbs, and a little bit of protein in them. But out there, like you're focusing on energy, so you need the protein and carbs and fats are through the roof.
Mm.
But yeah, I love the frog fuel was dope, super convenient, loved it. My dad bought a pack the second we got back, and he's like, "This is awesome."
That's, cool.
Yeah, but since you've been gone, I don't know why
Since
that
you've been
song.
gone.
The rodeo season's over. 2024.
Yeah, what year is it?
Yeah, where
Yeah,
are we?
2024. Season just wrapped up. Yeah.
You surprised by anything in the standings?
Not entirely, I don't think. There was definitely in the bull riding anyway, there was definitely some guys that made some late season moves that we had talked about, kinda leading up to it, but yeah, I'm trying to find because I saw some discrepancies on, like, what's listed
I did
online,
too.
and
They said that Hayes Waite was first in the world
yeah, but TJ
on a
Gray is listed
post.
on the standings in the bull riding, and so maybe
Did Hayes win the Governor Cup? I think he
no?
did. Let's see who
He
did.
rode really well there. Who won the Governor Cup?
I want to say that he did, but I might be wrong. Where's Tyler when we need him, man?
I know, dude. We're
Yeah.
flying blind here today.
The blind leading the blind.
But,
Uh,
I mean, my best guess is
anyways,
that maybe TJ had some X-Bulls money or something that didn't count
I'm just
or
stoked
something
to see
along those
these
lines because
guys.
he's listed at like 20 or $244,000, which,
Mhm.
$244,000 in your pocket at the end of the season is pretty good year.
I would
Um,
say that's a pretty dang good year.
even if it doesn't have him finishing first, he's still gonna be up there a good ways.
I mean, you're going in
Uh,
the NFR in a great position.
yeah, yeah, but they've got Hayes listed as going in number 1 in the world, so, I mean, good for him. It's only his 2nd NFR, had an
Props to him,
outstanding
man.
year,
Props to Hayes. Josh Frost, been with us forever, going in number 4.
and he
He,
hasn't even rodeoed
no, that's
in,
my
like,
favorite thing, man. He's
5
been doing this
months.
so differently than he ever has, and I think it's really, really gonna be like, when people talk about doing things and you do them the same thing over and over and you get the same results, and it's just the
Mhm.
definition of insanity. And not that he's gotten the same results, but his goal is to win the world title, obviously, to be a world champion. And he hasn't done that yet. He's been really close for a lot of years.
Yeah, 3 years in
And
a row, he finished
but
number
you
2.
notice that his approach each year, and I guess if you're not in the circle working with him like we are, you wouldn't get to see this, but like his approach has changed every year because he
Mhm.
knows that he has to do things differently to get the different outcome. And I think this is going to be a great year for him. I think it just
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize this more, like having a kid, man, like gives you a whole new purpose. And I'm starting. I don't have a kid yet, but it's happening soon. And I'm starting to realize,
It's getting
like,
real.
whew, wow, like things are a lot different now, and it's not just me relying on me, and I think it gives you superpowers to a certain extent, and I think that guys may be looking at him and saying, "Why isn't he going? He's going to be rusty." Nah, he's going to be hungry and healthy, ready to go. So I think it's a great move. So big shout out to him, and then and we had a cup Wasey. So stoked for him, man.
Yeah, dude.
Wasey, what a congrats, man. Hell of a year in the bareback riding and the bull riding. Did he make it in barebacks? He's close. I don't think
He was
made barebacks.
close. I haven't even looked this morning to see like where he stacks up there, but
No, he didn't make it yet.
I think he was like hanging
It's
around like number
27th.
20.
So
Yeah.
67 or 65,000. Way to go, dude. Heck of a first year. This is his rookie year, I think, in both as well. So I'm assuming that he's going to win the rookie there.
Yeah, and he's like I mean, we talked about it when we had him on the podcast. So like the bareback riding's like not even really his jam, you know? Like he just started doing it just because, and ended up 27th in the world. Like
not a
he had a
bad
string of runs there I think it was like the end of July, towards the end of July, early August. He was like 88.5 in the Bears and the Bulls everywhere he went for like a week straight.
Yep.
It's like, dude.
And that's how you go from whatever place he was in to fifth in the world. Pretty cool, man. Bareback riding, we kind of just chatted on that for a second, but I want to give a big shout out to Weston Timberman. Made his first NFR. That kid he is awesome. Rides outstanding, a standout individual, good human being. I'm excited to see where he goes. The bareback riding is...
Dude, Richie squeaked in there, didn't he?
Richie squeaked in, man.
Holy cow, I didn't realize how close that was.
Literally, what is that?
Bucks.
Yep. 200.
Yeah. It squeaked in
Good
there.
work, Richie.
Yeah,
Whew.
heck yeah, buddy.
Get it how you live, man.
Yeah. But man, I think it feels like Groundhog's Day, because we talked a lot last year about like the rookies in the bareback riding, and like look at
Bradley
all
Miller's
the
a
new
new
rookies in the bareback riding.
Weston. Did Cooper Cook make it last year? I don't know if he did, but yeah, it's cool to see all these young guys.
He was 21st last year.
Okay, so again, there's 3 or 4 rookies in this hunt, which will be cool. Last year we had 5. Love to see Taylor Broussard making her back in there. Good job, Brucey. Cole Reiner, Jacob Lees, Cole Franks, Jess Pope, RC Landingham. RC's just had an absolutely standout year. Keenan LB is going in number 3, Dean Thompson number 4, and good old Rocker leading the charge. He's got about it's between him and Keenan, it's pretty close. It's about 12 grand. Yeah, that's going to be really exciting to watch. Bronc riding is going to be cool. Damo has just been running away with things,
dude.
but
Yeah,
Ryder is not far off.
Watching the Governor's Cup was cool because like he broke the record there, and like in real time. So like you getting to watch it. Like he hops off his horse and they're interviewing him, and like, yeah, dude, you just broke the season earnings record. And he's like,
I'm going to Disneyland.
Yeah. But $280,000 won in the bronc riding. That is nuts, man.
Congrats, Damo. Big shout
out.
And
Ryder was giving him a run for his money. Like Ryder's finished with 250, so that's insane. 2 guys over 250,000 in the Bronx.
Gabe Bruno's not far off at 227. White, Casper, Brody Crest, Zeke Thurston. Big shout out to Zeke. Just won his 5th Canadian championship, something like that. And a huge shout out to Cody Lamb for picking up the bareback riding Canadian final or Canadian championship.
Good job, Cody Lamb.
Dude, fired up for him.
Yeah.
That guy has ridden good for so long and has earned every bit of what he has won, man. He is well deserved. Really stoked for him there. Statler's, that's his first year? Or did he make it last year? This is his first year, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm pretty sure.
He was 19th last year, it says.
Yep. So first time for old Statler. We got a new right in the bronc riding. He's coming in 172,000. Not bad. Dawson Hay right below him. Colby Wanchuk, Brody Wells, Zachary Dallas. I don't know if I know who that is.
I bet Logan does. He's from old Las Cruces.
Yeah. Oh, I know who he is. I think this is his first year, though.
Yeah, he has. I'm trying to see what he's. Yeah, he has. Yeah, he would be a rookie.
Cool.
I believe, because he has
Love it.
zero. He has $0
No.
won for 2023, or at least according to
All of his stats only started in
his
24,
stats.
so pretty
Yeah.
dang cool. So that's 1, 2, just 2 in the bronc riding. When's the last Australian world champion saddle bronc rider? Has there ever been one?
Ooh, that's rodeo trivia that I am not up on.
That is. I'm not either. We'll have to figure that out for next show. I need to write all these things down. I do want to move on to steer wrestling, though, because my boy Stetson Jorgensen is running in that deal number 3. And I don't know if we've talked about Stetson and his story a little bit. Maybe we did last episode, but he made the NFR in 2022 and was on path to win a world title. And the last steer stopped on him. And so he had a 10th round, no time, right? Heartbreaking, but still had an incredible, incredible season. Went back in 2023 and had a less than ideal season and did not go great for him. But a lot of that forced him to kind of look in the mirror and say, like, what did I not do? We talk about that sophomore slump all the time with the NFR, right? And that's what it came down to, is kind of thinking, oh, he made it and it's going to be automatic now. And that's just not how rodeo works. And you can ask my brother, dude. That dude has been in the fighting seat the last 2 years in a row, squeaking into
Yes,
this
he
thing by
has.
$200. Like, it's hard, man. It's tough. But Stetson made it, man, changed everything about what his approach to what he was doing. And his preparation became non-negotiable all around. And he has me, and that's why people hire coaches. But like the accountability part, when we got in that thick of the season, and I knew that working out is not going to happen. Doing mobility needs to happen, but doing mobility every day is probably not feasible for what's going on, because we got to think about, along with just the competition, the stress from travel, the stress from not sleeping, all the things I just listed on my hunting trip. And dude, he got done and he's like, I've never felt like this. I've never felt so good. And the 2023, the season ended, or I'm sorry, 22 after that. And before he started 23, he wasn't calling me to get started again. A day after the day the season ended, he texted me, I will call you Monday when I get home. I'm ready to get going.
Yeah.
Like, let's get this
Love
rolling.
that.
So just changing that approach for him was such a big deal. And I'm just so damn proud of that guy, man. He's worked his butt off and trusted the process and been so coachable through this. So I just want to give him a huge shout out. And we're going to be, big announcement. Sorry, I'm all over the place now. I haven't taken my medicine this morning. We will be in Las Vegas at the Westgate Hotel and Casino December 5th through the 15th. Our podcast will be live at the iBar at 10 a.m. every morning. You'll be able to come watch us, listen. We're going to have guests on. Stetson is going to be one of our guests. John Franzen from Powder River Rodeo is another guest I already have lined up. So we're going to have a good variety of rodeo athletes, entertainers coming through, chatting with us about the sport, about their time in Vegas, about what they do. We will be staying there at the Westgate as well. If you guys want to stay at the same place, check them out. Westgate Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was just told to make that clear because there are Westgates other places as well. So we will be in Las Vegas December 5th through the 15th. We are so dang excited to be a part of this and cannot thank the Westgate enough for having us. We'll also be at the watch parties in the evenings or at night watching the rounds. We'll be supporting our boy
if you have
Skip.
not been to the Westgate watch
What a
parties
fun time.
with Skip and Guy on the mics, man, it is a blast. It is definitely the best one that I've been to.
Yep. And rumor has it that we will be doing some guest analyst type things for them as well.
That would be dope.
That'll be cool as well. But I wanted to make sure we got that out, and I'll be announcing it every show from here till the NFR. We've got about, 8 weeks, 7 weeks or something. Wow,
Man,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, isn't it?
Big crowd.
Yeah, I don't even have my flights booked. That's scary.
I haven't booked my flights either.
I did look up to see, or I looked up a list of past world champions. There's a list on Wikipedia that is pretty
Legit.
robust. They
Oh, wow.
go all the way back to 1929 for the bronc riding, and I do not see a single Australian on the world champions list. So
That would be really cool to see
if
Damo do that.
Damo could crack that his second year, yeah, you want to talk about sophomore, the opposite of a sophomore slump. Like,
But dude, it shows like if every I wish people could see the prep that goes into see what the
Mhm.
guys are doing. Like you can go see the NFL, you can see the MLB, NHL, you can see all these guys doing what they do before, but no one has documented that really. And like we're trying our best, but it's tough because we don't have film crews with everybody to
Yeah.
do it, right? And getting
Damo has taken an athlete's approach since
from day
before his
one.
rookie year. Yeah.
The second he got here,
Yep.
he was training and he reached out to Logan, has been training with Logan. I don't even know how since the beginning, for a
Yeah.
long years now. And so we've gotten to watch his work ethic take him from a permit guy to making his first NFR. I think it was 2 years after that. So it took him 2 or 3 years to make that NFR. And now he's not just making the NFR once. He's going into the NF. I think he was 1 or 2 going in last year too. He was up there. But this year he is dominating that. And the one thing that hasn't changed is his work ethic and his mindset. And you
Mhm.
could see it in that interview that you talked about after the Governor's Cup.
Yeah.
She's like, "You just did this," and he was kind of like, "Oh, like I I hadn't. You can't think about that. You have to think
Mhm.
about the basics. Think about doing what you do, how you got there. Do the fundamentals on the horse because that's going to get you wherever you want to go." He hadn't even thought about breaking the record. All he thought about was he had a great horse, and this is what he needed to do to ride that horse. And subsequently, you break the record, and that's what we've
Mhm.
been saying for so long. With not even just rodeo, man. Anything, focus on those fundamentals, and the goals just start happening. Stop focusing on the outcome and start focusing on the system at hand. You're about to say
That's it,
something.
man. No. That's it.
No,
Keep it simple.
I left you speechless.
You did. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh man. I was reading through reps the other day on BioLane,
Yeah.
and I came across a kind of interesting. There was 2 interesting studies that I wanted to go over, but one of them had a bunch of words that I couldn't really pronounce that well, so I just went with the other one. But this is about the effect of different reduced training frequencies after 12 weeks of concurrent resistance and aerobic training on muscle strength. So, what concurrent means is they're doing strength training and aerobic training together, not on the same days, but in the same training
Within the
block.
same, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought this was important because it's talking about reduced training frequency. So, doing less work. And really, we've talked about the residuals, right, of
Mhm.
training, how long training lasts, and what you need to do to maintain it. And this kind of it talks about the aerobic side too, but I like that it talked about both because it shows that it's prevalent in both things. But what they are testing is the effects of reduced training frequency on muscle strength, muscle size, and aerobic power after 12 weeks of this training period. Then after a 12-week reduced training period, and then again after 12 weeks of no training. So they tested what would happen in each scenario if you stop training, if you just did minimal training, and then an actual full training, right?
Mhm.
The only thing I didn't like about this was the test group was all females. But needless to say, it was 34 healthy female physical education students around 20 to 22 years of age. They did not have any experience with any resistance or aerobic training. So, for at least 2 years prior to the study. So, some may have trained prior to that, but 2 years prior, like they're all going in at a beginning
Yeah.
level and they're all going to see changes quickly when I start
Mhm.
thinking about that, right? Because they're all beginners. What they found during this study is it was assessed whether reduced training frequency conducted either once every 7 or 14 days could maintain training adaptations after 12 weeks of twice per week concurrent training. So for 12 weeks, they're working out twice a week. They're wondering if they reduce the training to once every 7 or 14 days, if they could still maintain. The findings suggest that the training once a week can preserve all training adaptations from the training period. Further, training once every 14 days can preserve 95% of strength, muscle, and size, and 10% of aerobic power. Training cessation, so not training, led to losing about half of participants' total gains in muscle strength and all of the gains in muscle size and aerobic power in 12 weeks. After an additional period of 12 weeks of no training, all adaptations returned to the baseline
Huh.
for everybody. So, what does that all mean? These findings, when we look at them, suggest that you can maintain most of your muscle strength, size, and aerobic capacity by training just once every 7 to 14 days. Granted, you have to have done the concurrent training program before
Yeah.
that, right? There has to be a baseline built up to that. The key seems to be, if you're only going to be doing those once a week or once every 2 weeks, and you know that's coming up, it needs to be a higher intensity session when you're doing
Mhm.
it to continue to maintain those gains. This is really useful, I think, for people with a busy schedule, which is,
Yeah, this is
I
kind of a
think,
good
all of
news, good
us.
news scenario. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised a little bit in the fact that these were untrained individuals and they only, went through one 12-week cycle. And they're even at with just the, that volume being like 1/7 or even 1/14 basically of what they were doing before, and they were able to maintain that even with just a 12 weeks of training history. So like kind of in my mind, and anecdotally we all know like the longer you train, the easier it is to maintain, a
Mhm.
certain level of fitness. So like, if these people had been training for 10 years, it would be very obvious to me that they would be able to maintain those qualities training once every 7 days. But I'm kind of surprised that you don't have to have that long of a training history in order to then maintain those same qualities. So that's like I said, it's kind of a good news thing. So like this just further shows us that a week off is not going to derail progress. Like it's
No.
not going to, people tend to get all up in arms like when they if they miss a couple workouts, or even myself, man. Like I've had plenty of weeks this summer where it was one day. I had one opportunity to get in the
Mhm.
gym, and the thought in the back of your head like, oh shoot, I was making good progress, it's all going to go away. And
Mhm.
like I know, like, now it's the end of the summer, I'm kind of getting back into a little bit more routine. I haven't really lost anything, you know me
No.
personally, but I have like a very long training history, and so like I'm not like surprised that I haven't lost much. I've even probably made some gains in some areas.
Mhm.
But I think it's good. It can set your mind at ease that a bad week, say you miss workouts for a week or whatever, or you have a busy schedule and you know that you're only going to be able to work out once a week for the next 3 or 4 weeks. That's okay. You're not going to lose anything.
No. Not gonna lose anything. I think it's just it's cool to hear, that you can maintain this even when you're busy, and is kinda, you're not gonna lose all your gains that you just put all the work in for. So don't
Hmm.
freak out. Biggest thing is here, you cannot go 12 weeks and not do anything. You will lose everything that you've built, and
Yep.
that's the key here. You've just got to get some kind of reminder back into the system. Hey, remember we do this.
Yep.
Pretty cool. I thought it was an interesting study and just wanted to share it with everybody. And it kind of leads us into what we're talking about today. Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping or you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk at discount. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout. And what should athletes be doing now that we are wrapping up the competitive season, right?
Hmm.
Moving into this off season. And during the season, we've said a million times, the body takes a beating no matter what event that you're in. Long drives, bad draws, rough draws, whatever. Just the grind of week in and week out is tough. And so this time of year, this off season is all about getting our body back to homeostasis, getting it
Hmm.
back to central, right? And if we skip this healing phase, or this rebuild phase, I like to call it, where we're, as coaches, we're looking for the imbalances that have happened throughout the season. There may be some little injuries that we're dealing with. We need to fix all those first in order to get back to gaining that strength and increasing our anaerobic capacity. Because if we don't, we will never be able to get as strong or as fast as we potentially could because our body's having to cope and adapt, move around weaknesses, right? Is that your first step too with
Yeah,
athletes?
because so you had mentioned at the top of the show, like talking about, or you said you phrased it and say, "Hey, this is off topic," and then started talking about how you're beating your body down and like you know you needed to recover and stuff. And I was like, it's not quite off topic. Like we're gonna kind of circle back to this. So like that's exactly what I would think of. I would compare a full rodeo season to similar to the effects of like what you just put yourself through in the woods. Like you went probably a little bit harder on as far as intensity on a shorter time frame, but all in all, like we're probably seeing the same things, like
Mm-hmm.
decreased muscle mass, lower recoveries, things like that. Like your body is kind of it's at its limit. So like what
Mm-hmm.
do? We go right back to what that study said. We maintain for a little bit. And we try to get the body healthy again and let it
Mm-hmm.
recover. And what we just learned is that we can do that with just one strength training session a week. Or you could break that up and you could work on mobility, maybe 3 days a week for a couple weeks. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
just taking the first step after a long season is taking that time to recover. And that doesn't mean time off. That just means we're not doing the same thing that we were doing before. But
Uh,
that's not the end
yeah.
of the story either. Like we got
Yeah.
to get back to regular scheduled training, and in an off-season type setting, we probably want to take even again a different approach than what we did during the season.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's really important to deload a little bit too, and I don't mean that in
yeah.
a sense of like weight going down on your lifts. I mean that in a sense of for you competitive athletes that have just finished a full year of professional rodeo, you went to almost 100 rodeos, or you did go to 100 rodeos this year. You need to detach from
Hmm.
everything. And I recommend all my athletes like a week, their first week. We'll do some mobility. We could put some mobility in there, but like I don't want you to think about rodeo. I don't want you to think about anything. Like enjoy being home, be with your wife, your girlfriend, whatever your husband's like your family. Go be part of that. Refill your cup on the inside so you can now go put out the work that you need to, because it's going to
Hmm.
take a lot over these, especially if you made the NFR. It's going to take a lot over these 9 weeks, and if you didn't make the NFR, you have little bit longer
That's
amount of
what I was
time.
going to say, is especially if you made the NFR, like you need to
Hmm.
get it off your mind for a little bit. Like
Yes.
don't start prepping and planning for NFR today. Like I mean it's always there. Like it's been the goal the whole year, but like clear the mind a bit too, and then
Hmm.
start working on your strategy in a week or so.
Yep. And then the next step, like you were talking about, I think is, again, we do the evaluation with our athlete. If you don't have a coach, you need to do an evaluation of your own, especially if you're dealing with some kind of nagging injuries. But corrective exercises, mobility, and flexibility are going to be our bread and butter for the first week of work. Again, I'm going to introduce them to some kind of strength training throughout that week, but it's going to be very low volume. It's going to
Hmm.
be very probably a long tempo. So the weight is going to be very light. And I'm just introducing them again back into those movement patterns. And they're very basic, like a squat, a press, pull. That's probably about it. Some kind of bending motion, hit deadlift, and then we'll call it a day on the
Yeah,
weight
because
lift.
especially if there are exercises that they haven't been doing for a
They're
while,
gonna
like on
see a
this,
good stimulus from it.
they are, and they're going to be sore like
Hmm.
the first time that's reintroduced, like it. So you don't need to kill yourself with your own dagger by introducing new exercises and going super hard on those. Like we
Hmm.
want to we want to moderate the volume and the intensity a little bit, and make sure that we just get back in the swing of things.
Dude, I'll give an example. So I knew that I worked out twice since I've been back, and I hadn't worked out in, like I said, a month. And I knew I was going to be I'm already coming back from sickness. I didn't need to go hard. So I've just been doing full body mobility type exercises with bands and really, really simple things. Like I did an open book for my thoracic to start. I did active straight leg raise, band pull aparts, banded clamshell, a glute bridge with an adduction, a wall sit. I did dead bugs, all of these things, right? They just re-engage everything. I was sore the next day. I
Mhm.
did 2 sets of them. And so I knew I'd made the right call, but those are the types of things that we're talking about in these corrective exercises that you can put together. And I just start going, I go head to toe. Like if I'm looking at mobility, thoracic mobility, my upper back, my chest, move all the way down to my ankles, and just do 1 or 2 sets of each of those. And it's a great start. I did that for a day, did that for the second day. Next Monday or this yesterday, I did my first weightlifting workout, and I mostly functional training. I incorporate all those dead bugs and things into my weight movements because I want to try and reactivate everything, get everything firing again. But I kept the weights really light, and it felt so good to move again. The funny thing, this is all kind of going on rabbit holes, but like, when you get in those times of not working out, it becomes more of a drag to you to go. Like it
Yeah.
gets easier to be like, oh,
Yeah.
nope, no, don't want to do it. And I knew that all I needed to do was go and feel what you feel after you get done working out to counteract that and be like, oh no, just remind me again, this does feel good. Because the only exercise I've had lately is, again, torturing myself. So none of the exercise has been fun. It's been not enjoyable. And so yesterday after that lift, I was like, man, that is it. That's the secret sauce. You just got to go back and do it. You'll feel so much better. Just get moving again. Your body will thank you. Okay, rant over. But first thing in our off season, detach, refill your cup. Then we're getting those corrective exercises and that mobility. Where are we going from there?
Where are we going from there? We want to start like we said, we're going to ease back into it, but in the off season, especially, this is a great time to not get on animals if you're a rough stock guy. I know everybody's going to have a little bit different preferences, like to how often they're getting on and stuff, but really, like, we want to make sure that we are general prep, basically, I guess is what I would call it. Like we want to be working on conditioning, we want to be working on the corrective exercises, we want to be working on the mobility and flexibility, we want to be adding the strength back in that we have lost throughout the season. And like there's probably no better way to do that than like with your big compound lifts.
Yep.
And so working all of those back in on like a building intensity over the first few weeks, and then trying to reach new numbers there if you're tracking numbers, or however you're going to go about it. Obviously, I think tracking weights and pushing for numbers is a good way for most people during this time, because it's not something that you're going to do all the time, but that could be another topic for another day.
No, agreed, man.
Yeah.
This is our time to build that muscle back that we lost throughout the season,
Mm-hmm.
and prepare our bodies to hopefully maintain that muscle as long as we can throughout this season.
Well,
This is the time. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that's the thing, is like we tend to see guys lose about 10 pounds over the
Yeah.
course of the summer run. And so, we kind of, one, we need to get that back. And then two, we need to probably pad that a little bit. We want to get a little bit extra in there to make sure that we're starting the season off on the right foot.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I forgot what I was going to say. Anyways, we got to get back to strength training. Once we've gotten the corrective exercise and mobility done, body's feeling good, let's get back to those compound lifts, building muscle. Along with building muscle, you've got to eat correctly. Make sure you're eating enough calories. There's tons of macro calculators online that you can go check out. We use Mind Pumps as my favorite one to use. If you have any questions, just let us know on that. But what about conditioning? When we first start, do we go back to this quote unquote sports specific or these anaerobic sprints, or are you going to say more steady state?
Yeah, more steady state, low aerobic type stuff. We really just, again, that's going to help recovery. And so like we don't need to push the threshold of your anaerobic systems, or like, your short burst, fast sprint systems. We want something that's going to complement the strength building and the muscle building that we are, ultimately trying to achieve here in this time. And so like low aerobic steady state cardio is going to give you the foundation to then move into more sport specific, faster things later on, closer to like the preseason
I
time, or what
love
we
that you
call
said
like,
that.
yeah, like the Texas swing and like all those, like that's when we're going to kind of start to dial things up a little bit. But between now and the end of the year, I would probably stick to main focus being strength training, and then a secondary focus being just maintaining a foundation of cardio with steady state cardio. Like
Absolutely.
conversation pace. Like you want to be able to talk to somebody like when you're doing this.
Yeah, and it's not for like hours either. It's like
No.
20 minutes tops. Like just getting the body moving, keeping that system open, the aerobic system open, and you'll feel good after. You'll feel great. But again, the low intensity is the biggest thing. And I love that you said the sport specific things come later. This is our general prep time. This is nothing to do with sport specific. That will come later in the season as competition starts to increase. Yes, you'll still get on your spur board, drop rail, rope the dummy, do whatever. But the main focus during this time is building that strength after we've taken care of the weaknesses or whatever we have going on in the body, imbalances. Let's talk about some common mistakes real quick that we see this all the time when we're talking to people, but my biggest thing is the overtraining. During the off season, this is your time to focus on recovery, like we've said, building yourself back up. Do not end a season and go straight back to intense training. Your body needs the break. You have to let it reset. You may feel good right now, but I'm telling you, you'll get to the Texas swing time and you're going to feel like a garbage.
It's going to be really easy to talk yourself into doing that too, because when the standings, are posted October 1 and you look at it and you're like, ugh, I did not like where I ended up. That means I need to work twice as hard this year. And so October 2, you start off on some crazy training plan where you're, busting your butt all day, every day. And you're just further spiraling down on just torturing your body, when really like what we could do is slow down a little bit, pull the volume back, focus on getting strong, and be better off for when it is time to work in that capacity.
Yeah, and the thing about it is if you just came off of this huge busy season and you jump in this high intensity training, you're only making yourself more susceptible to injury.
Well,
And
and you're probably already carrying like minor
yeah,
injuries around.
exactly.
Like, yeah.
You're saying they look at the standings, they don't like it, and they immediately go to, I need to work harder. My question, first of all, to everyone that thinks that is, did you not work hard last year? And if the answer is no, you didn't, then okay, maybe you need to work harder. But I'm
Yeah.
going to bet 98% of you have already worked hard and are already putting in a lot of work towards this. What about working smarter?
Yep.
Doing more does not equal more results. Doing things differently and gaining wisdom equals different results.
That's
So
it.
look at your plan, look at what happened last year. What were the good things? What didn't work? Why didn't they work? And usually we can start to find what we actually need to be focusing on and working smarter. And again, the smarter thing is your guys' job is not to be a professional strength and conditioning coach. Like, it's okay that you don't know what your workouts are, because your job is to be a professional rodeo athlete. Your job is to be the best at what that is, whatever event you're doing. Hire a professional to help you set this up. Invest in yourself. It will pay for itself, guaranteed. Just ask Damian Brennan. Just ask Josh Frost. Like, the list can go on, but those are two right now I can tell you. Will tell you they will never, ever not do this, because it's worth every investment or every dollar they invest in it. Next thing, skipping the mobility. I get it. It's not sexy. It's not fun. But I am telling you right now, mobility is probably the most important thing that you're going to do throughout your rodeo career, no matter what event you are. And honestly, throughout life, you need to be doing mobility forever. And the older you get, the more you'll realize that. But you skip it, I promise you're going to pay later. It's one of those things. You got to just keep putting those pennies in the piggy bank. Every time you do it, those pennies go in a bit. Eventually, you got a bunch of money. But if you do or don't, and someone hits that piggy bank, it just cracks open into nothing. And then that's you getting an injury, and which could have been avoided potentially or mitigated at a minimum. Let's talk about the nutrition part, not adjusting your nutrition,
Yeah.
not, making up for that. What do you think about what should they do?
Yeah, so everybody's going to be a little bit different depending on where you're coming from, based off like, events are probably going to be a little bit different. I'm sure bulldoggers aren't necessarily guys that are restricting calories a whole lot during the final months of the season. But your rough stock riders, they're definitely going to fall into that category. So, but making sure that you're eating according to what your training plan and what your body needs right now. Again, building muscle is probably a good idea. So we want to be in a slight calorie surplus, but don't go off the rails and ignore your nutrition altogether and just eat whatever you want. But do it methodically. Eat at least at maintenance, maybe a little bit more. Try and get back what you'd lost throughout the season, and then track what's going on. Like use tape measures, or use a scale or something to gauge progress on what's going on with the scale. or the tape measure. The tape measure is going to be more of the full picture. A scale can fluctuate a lot throughout the day. If you're using tape measure measurements once a week, that's not going to change, as rapidly as the scale will. So it's going to be a little bit more reliable, but you want to have some way to track results as well as like tracking your intake and stuff like that.
Yeah. And if you have goals of losing weight, gaining muscle, your nutrition you have to pay attention to it. It is imperative.
Yeah, man, it's just one of those things. Like you have to do the work there. It's a pain in the butt to track. Like I'll be the first to say it. I hate tracking, but I do it twice a year at least, just to make sure that I don't get too far off on my guess meter. Because I spend the majority of the year guessing, but I have a solid. I can eyeball it. Like I've
done this for
been
a
doing
long
it long
time as
enough
well.
that like
Yeah.
I can make pretty good estimations, but I still have to go back and hold myself accountable and track a couple times a year to make sure that my estimations are still on. And so if you've never tracked nutrition before and you're wondering why you're not where you want to be, you have to. Like you just have to do it.
Yep. It's a non-negotiable. And you'll be so happy you did, because you learn so much about food and
You
eating.
learn a ton, man.
Yep.
Yeah. You can have a conversation with any, random Joe off the street and, they have no idea what they're taking in as far as calories, as far as macros go. Like people just do not pay attention to that. And so if you do pay attention to that and you do track it, you're going to put yourself in like the top 1% of the people in the entire world, because you at least know what's happening. Even if you don't get it right all the time, like you at least know what's happening and you can adjust.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, man.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is power. I'm going to kind of start to wrap this up, but looking at a bigger picture here, when I was a younger athlete, I didn't necessarily care about the off season, but looking at everything from the lens I look through now, after going through it all, it is one of the most important parts of the season. And it's the reason it is because it really is. This is where you get to start extending your career, if that is your choice, right? You're not just trying to survive one season. You're trying to make a living at this, do this for a long time, be a multiple time world champion, like whatever it is. You've got to use this time to recenter yourself, like we talked about, regain the strength, get rid of the imbalances, work on your flexibility, mobility, maybe make sure, like, if you got sidelined this year, that you don't get sidelined next year by an injury. Disciplined right now is going to be what keeps you in the game and performing at your best for a long time. And so it's easy to lose focus, especially during these off seasons. Stay focused, stay disciplined. And the cool thing about this is that discipline it's doing less, essentially, like doing the right things, doing these smart things that you might need to fight the tendency to do more. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, that's not enough. I need to go do more. Just do what you are being told to do by your coach. Or if you are putting your own things together, less is usually more in that sense, right?
Yeah, you can't sprint all the time.
No.
And I mean that physically and mentally. Like if you look at professional sprinters, like the longest sprint is 200 meters, and then there's a 100-meter race, and there's a reason that you can only go at that maximal output for so long before you start to slow down. Like, guys that run the 400-meter or the mile or these longer races, like they're moving at a much slower pace than the guys that are running 200 meters or less. The same thing happens mentally. Like you can only sprint mentally for so long before you start to lose the momentum. You start to fatigue, I guess would be a good word for it. And you can't maintain it forever. And so you need to have times when you're thinking about your goals, you need to have times of like rest mentally and sprint mentally. Like those need to be built into how you approach your goals and how you approach your season. And, with the rodeo season being 365 days a year, you have to do that work yourself. Like there is no real off season. And we've been talking about off season this whole time on the show, but like there's not a real one on the schedule. You have to make it.
You have to make it. Yep. You have to make it. That was freaking gold, dude. And bottom line here is what I heard, everything you said, trust the process. This is all a process that cannot be rushed. So you need to settle in, get comfortable with it, and just play the long game and realize this is not a next day thing, or you're going to, be done with this in a week. It's forever. And you will continue to reap the benefits if you do that. If you guys, any of you listening, are ready to take your training to the next level or are needing guidance, we can definitely help you. So reach out to us. You can go to our website, www.championlivingfitness.com. Click the sign up now button. It gets you a free consultation with one of our coaches, answer all your questions, make sure we team you up with the right coach for your goals, and get you started on your journey here. But every plan can be tailored to your needs, or we have other options as well that are a little bit more inexpensive, I guess is the word to say it. But the price is all about the coaching that you get. So whatever level you need, we have options available. And if you guys have any questions about what we covered on this show, or we have any suggestions for topics coming up, shoot us a message on Instagram. I'm at champion.living, at Coach Paul Lloyd. You can see both of our deals here on the screen. And until next time, we'll catch you all later. Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through. And that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.